This is a video that I really did not want to make. After years and years of some of the same disappointment, I've reached my limit and I have to say something. The NASCAR Heat series was never a series that was going to be winning any Game of the Year prizes, but that was expected. But it reached a point of complacency at this time that it just needs to be addressed. But before I go into things that I'm not a fan of in this series, I do want to get some positivity of the series out. To start off, the plate racing is really good, and especially online, it's really fun. I have to admit, that's the high point of the game. Also, the people from 704 or Motorsport or whatever it's called now, they're generally some really good people, and you can tell that they do enjoy creating these games. Unfortunately, this is where my praises end, as I really don't care in the grand scheme of things how nice people are when they make a product if said product isn't good. Even further, my wallet doesn't care either. If you're asking me to pay $60 for a game, I expect to get value out of my purchase. I don't care if the game is better than the last one if it's not a good game. This is an excuse that many Heat fans and defenders have always been trying to use when criticism is lobbed at the game. Well, it's improving game by game. You want a cookie? That's what you're supposed to do. You're expected to get better each game, especially when you're in the midst of a 10-year deal with NASCAR. This is the bare minimum requirement, not some great achievement. It's sad that people set the bar so low 5 games into a series. Now let's take a look at the gameplay of the Heat series and how the series looks. These games are so buggy as hell that I question if they're even finished when they're released. On the new release of Heat 5, walls weren't even right. This is like if you were to screw up a Madden game and make the out-of-bounds lines all wonky. Say what you will about those games, but at least they get the basics of their sport right. Also, in the same game, the driver number 42, Matt Kenseth, is actually the model for Kyle Larson. Now, I know that it's probably last minute, especially with what happened with Larson, but I mean, you literally can just replace Larson's model with some generic white guy and you'd be closer. Again, with the Madden comparison, it'd be like making Jameis Winston the quarterback of the Buccaneers when it should be Tom Brady. The gameplay in these games is really glitchy and buggy. Sure, the ping pong effect has been lessened, but it's still there. My car shouldn't bounce like a basketball if I hit other cars between them. If you go down to the bottom of the track and barely put your wheels on the apron, you spin out like a top because apparently it's made of ice. It's ridiculous. I get being bounced up the track like real life. But when I spin out from touching the curb at Martinsville, you lose me. The game also can spin you out on seams of the track like Atlanta and Iowa. It's like having an apron on the track that you constantly have to avoid. When Heat 4 came out last year, the jazz was all about 2 things: a track map and multi-groove racing. 1, a track map is a basic goddamn thing for racing games. They've been in NASCAR games since at least 1999. That's right, a game that came out 20 years ago was ahead of a series made today. Now, the multi-groove racing was kinda there, but mostly was just for when you use custom setups. So if you want to just go for fun side-by-side racing in a quick online race with friends or on a stream, tough shit. You're either sitting on the bottom as a bottom feeder, or you're just rim riding like at Kansas. If you want side-by-side racing, just play NASCAR Thunder 2004 or the Technics games. Also, when it comes to cautions, this game is really a major de-evolution. You have 2 options, relaxed or strict yellows, and both settings are horribly broken. Strict yellows, you have cautions if a car hits a damn fly. Relaxed yellows, you have cars flipping Elliott Sadler Talladega style, but if they're not on the track or they're below the apron, that's not a caution. But none of these game-breaking bugs compare to how awful it is on pit road. To start with, you can't control your car. Now, this isn't a deal breaker, as this is the norm for NASCAR games. And if you ask me, I think it's a problem with NASCAR games, but we can get into that another time. Where the problems come in is the fact that cars can still collide with each other and spin each other out on pit road, and you have no control. You could be completely screwed. I mean, what kind of garbage is this? For those running events or league races, this can cost people a ton, whether it's a race win, a championship, and who knows, if there's money on the line for whatever it is, it can cost them some money. But we'll get into league racing a bit later. All of these problems roll directly into my next huge issue with this series, chiefly with the newest game. NASCAR Heat 4.5, NASCAR Heat 5. This game is a copy and paste of the last one. All of the issues that were in NASCAR Heat 4 are pretty much copy and pasted into this new game. And I use the word new generously, to say the least. Now, I've heard many Heat defenders say that this is a necessary evil, that it's just a way to get another game out in 2020, and we just have to wait till the next-gen consoles to come out for a great new game. And some of them even have the audacity to say wait till Heat 7. Listen, one day, I'm probably going to get the next-gen consoles. It's not going to be when it comes out for sure. I'm not a sucker. I'm going to wait a year when it's half price. But when I get them, you can bet your ass that NASCAR Heat 6, 7, or 8 is probably not going to be my first choice of games to get. You're telling me that I have to wait until the 6th, 7th, or 8th game in this series to finally get a good one? For those having stuck by this series since the worst NASCAR game ever came out, they would have had to drop anywhere from $360 to around $500 on this series. And in my opinion, it's almost a complete waste of money. People say that you need to give this company more of your money so that they can invest it into making better games. Yet, this formula has yet to really work 5 games in. The idea is insanity, trying the same damn thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Speaking of insanity, let's look at the NASCAR Heat Pro League. This series, contrary to what the game developers will tell you, is basically run on a different game than the rest of us will have. Their game runs with different spectator angles, different cars, and an actual leaderboard in the spectator mode that tells you where all the competitors are running and their intervals and everything like that. This is something that the Heat player community has really been asking for years now. Yet this league immediately gets it and we're left with nothing. It still looks as bad as the game we have though. $200,000 sunk into this thing, and there's no major difference in at least the graphics look. It's just the features added to spectator mode. There's a preference for part of the game that is only made for a few dozen people. For many of those drivers in that league, it's a very elitist club that has many people view themselves as better than the rest of us that aren't in the Pro League. This was definitely seen on the early release dates for Heat 5 on July 7th. My buddy's IDK player in Black Flags Matter, they were racing in a lobby with some Pro Leaguers. And not all of them got mad. I'm not going to throw all of them under the bus. But in this race, they're at Talladega. IDK throws it under the yellow line at Talladega and gains the lead and wins the race. For this, he's kicked from the lobby because some of the elitist drivers throw a bitch fit about it. Remember that these are grown men on a crappy video game complaining about driving etiquette. Twitter drama then ensues, with one of them saying that IDK needs to just stick to YouTube because that's what he's good at. What's really funny is this is the same guy that asked IDK last year to promote his YouTube channel. But yeah, this dude is definitely putting the pro in Pro League. You would think that the GM of the Pro League, Jay Pinnell, would be stepping in order to stop some of his drivers from making the league look bad for the really good drivers who aren't making it look bad. But this would require him from having to take a break from responding to troll tweets or not posting overly emotional political posts. Just another member of the blue checkmark club that seemingly any Joe Schmo can get in if they've worked a decade at Ben & Jerry's. Let's just hope that the Pro League servers don't crash again, I guess. Overall, the company is immediately defended for being a small one. Yet that hasn't stopped other small companies through the years of making great video games. The company has security in a long-term deal with NASCAR, and NASCAR as an industry has shown willingness to adapt to the modern era of entertainment. I think if they tried, I'm betting that NASCAR would throw everything in that they could to make it a great game, if they're not already doing that. But instead, we get more of the same crap, because both the NASCAR fan base and the production company overall have given this series such a low bar to get over, they might trip every time they make a game. And the biggest thing that sucks about this is the really good people that are working in the community to try and make the community better. The people that are out there trying to talk to the community, getting feedback, it almost feels like it falls on deaf ears, even though they are trying their best to make this game better, to make this community better. Everybody working and involved in this game owes it to the people already working hard, already making this community a better place. They owe it to them to make this game better than it is, to make this series better than it is. So moving forward, I'm going to say this. I will not be getting Heat 5. I will not be getting Heat 6 on the next-gen consoles. I will not be getting a game in this series until it gets glowing reviews from fans and critics alike. And these reviews have to last longer than a month. Everyone was happy with Heat 4 last year because Heat 3 was garbage. The first game that I ever played in this series was actually Heat 3. I played it and immediately thought it was awful. I didn't get why everyone thought it was so great. Well, it's because Heat 2 was even worse. Heat Evolution was the worst game ever. So, until we have long-lasting happiness with one of these games, I am not wasting my money on another one. But I will say, if Heat 6 or 7 onward does get some kind of upgrade that I and everybody else is really liking, then I will be 100% behind it. I will give it a glowing review, and I will say that they have come a long way. But until that time, I'm saving my money. All right, now I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about the standard that has been set for the NASCAR Heat series? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're at it, leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. And until next time, have a good one.